Hello again everyone, Ken from Whittling Woods back again with another little wood carving video here. Today we're going to try something different. One of my viewers, Robert, I had done these like little bottle stop things. You kind of put them in, their nose comes up to the top of the bottle. They're funny little things, and they were fun to do. I think I used Eastern White Pine to do these, if I'm not mistaken, back. I'll have a link for the video. It'll show up over here and then down in the description as well. But he suggested I maybe expand upon these, and I was thinking of different ways to expand upon it. And I thought maybe, since I haven't done a found wood kind of video in a little while, maybe not that long, but I'm going to try to do something like a gnome coming out of a tree trunk type of thing. So we're going to keep the bottom portion of this little cutoff. I believe this is probably, this might be walnut. I'm not 100% sure. It's been sitting in my soaking bin for probably about almost 2 years now. So we'll see how it whittles. I hope the bark stays on. But just so you can have some measurements here, it's about 4.5 inches long and about 1.75 inches in diameter, give or take. It's obviously slightly irregular. So what I'm going to do here is get out the old trusty Rough Rider pocket knife. A lot of people ask me questions. This is an older Rough Rider. I'll have the model number pop up on the screen somewhere. I don't recall which model number it is. I don't believe they make this particular model, but they do have knives that are comparable to this. So check them out. I can't attest to the current quality of their knives, but this one's probably about 15 plus years old, 15, 16, 17 years old, something like that. I've had it for quite some time. I have a few of them, and they're great little pocket knives. They're small, easy to fit in your pocket, and I like using them for this type of wood. So anyway, that's what we're going to attempt today. A little gnome type, gnome, fig, whatever, hillbilly, old guy, whatever. They all kind of come out like old guys carving old guys, right? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get everything set up, and I will be right back. I'm looking at this piece. It's got a lot of irregular. This is probably not the best piece to use, but it's the only section I had left, and I haven't had an opportunity to get out and find something else. So we're going to give it a shot in this piece and see how it comes out. But I'm looking at it, and it looks like this end is going to be a little harder to do. It's got more of a probably a piece of a little branch that was coming out of there. So, but we're going to see. We have little issues over here too as well. But that's found wood. We're going to give it our best shot. So let's start off with thinking that maybe the character will be about a little more than halfway. We'll just kind of do it from about here. So what I'm going to kind of do is just take some of the bark off. I'm going to go around here and just take some of the bark off. So that's really all I'm doing here. Just going around and removing the bark, because we're not going to need the bark on this guy, for the top part of it here. Hopefully the bottom portions of the bark stay on, but if they don't, so be it. We'll do our best. But that's it. I'm going to go around and take the bark off and try to work my way through some of these little irregularities here. And when I get all that done, I will be right back. Okay, I kind of went around here and just removed a good portion of the bark. And as I mentioned before, because I know I get questions on this a lot too, this wood is technically not green wood because it's been sitting. It was cut like 2 years ago, and I find that if I've been trying this out rather than just always looking for greenwood, although honestly I would prefer to do the greenwood, but I've been trying this experiment out for the past couple years where I just store it in a bucket of water outside, and like I said, this has been sitting in there and I haven't had any problems with it. Some people have asked me if it's prone to check more once I whittle the figure, and I haven't had that experience. I've done a lot of little wood spirits with it, and they all seem to hold up pretty well. So it's been working for me. I had cut some wood, a tree in the back of our property, branch section had fallen out, and I cut this wood, and I kind of wanted to use it, but I don't always get around to whittling found wood, so Anyway, it's been holding up okay. So you kind of see where we're at here. We're going to have like a little log here. And we're going to attempt to get our figure into you know, well, maybe his nose will be right about here. It'll come out, you know, it'll come out, you know, just be sitting right on the edge of the log, like he's popping out, I guess. You know, I'm kind of making this up as I go. Robert's suggestion was maybe to turn it into some type of ornament type of thing, and that's a good idea too. Maybe down the road I'll try that out or something to that effect. But I wanted to give this a shot because I thought it would look kind of interesting. Now what I'm doing, I figured he's going to have, as if you recall, like the figure I showed up front had a hat, so I'm going to kind of go with that same type of look. You know, he'll have a hat. I'll be kind of sitting in the wood like that. So what I'm going to do here is just kind of go around and start tapering it down to a little pointed hat. So it's relatively boring to watch me do this, although maybe you don't think so. But I will kind of just skip through this part here because that's all I'm doing, just tapering the end down, and I'm hoping that that this works out. Okay, I thought I'd come back in here just to kind of show you what. Sometimes when I'm doing this cut, I do this, you know, kind of the strong arming cut, and you always want to do this type of cut where everything in front of you is cleared out, because you're not doing a push cut. You're using the strength of your hand and your arm to kind of pull the wood away like that. You know, you're cutting the knife. You're not pushing it straight through. You're actually coming through at a slight angle like this. That's how the knife cuts more effectively. And you're going to have a secure grasp on the knife because it kind of powers through the wood this way. Sometimes doing small push cuts is fine, but on harder wood like this, sometimes have to kind of power your way through it. So I just wanted to kind of jump in there and show you, especially when you get to this area where the little knots are. You know, in order to get through them, you sort of have to really push away like that. And again, don't do this in your lap with your leg in the way. This is completely, my legs and everything are out of the way up front. And so you want to have control of the knife and where your blade's going. So just wanted to jump in there and kind of show you that. Alrighty, I'm just going to finish tapering this down and I'll be right back. Okay, I kind of powered my way through that. And now what I think I'm going to do, like I said, I was looking at it, you know, you got a knot there, some irregularities there. Maybe right about here actually is where we're going to wind up putting the nose. I want to keep these sections towards the back. So I'm thinking like right there will be the brim of the hat, and then it'll kind of taper to either side. And then we'll kind of start we're going to see how this all works out here. We might have to change it as we go. But so I'm going to put the brim of the hat right about here. So I'm going to put a stop cut in just so I know. And I'm going to cut up to that. So that's going to be the bottom of the hat here. And what I'm going to do is just kind of carry that right around. Really all these figures are hat and nose. And so they're not all that difficult to whittle. By the way, I wanted to mention too that one of my viewers, Steve, has been very very kind in sending me some images of whittles that he's done based on some of the videos or tutorials or whatever you want to call it that I've done. So Steve, I really appreciate that. It means a lot to me. Steve's just sent me one. He has done a couple, but he sent me one recently of the Frankenstein monster that I did back around Halloween, and it came out great. Really did a nice job on it. And so what I think I'm going to do here is actually I'm going to try to get in here and taper this back just a little bit in here. Carefully bring it in and maybe remove some of the wood on either side just to get it more to a bit of a point for the nose. And at what point, I mean this area, I want it more prominent. You know, you can see it's kind of flat right now. So we need to take back the sides here a bit, and we'll eventually widen that. Again, these don't have a lot of detail in them, So that's the nice thing about them. They're pretty easy to do. And if you don't have a wood like this, use any kind of wood you have. Just use a piece of basswood or whatever and give it a shot. Make the bottom look like a log. I was thinking about doing that too, but I had this wood and I figured, I like doing pocket knife whittles. There's a lot of people who enjoy the pocket knife whittles, and I love using a pocket knife. But there you go. So we kind of tapered that down. So what I'm going to do right here is just kind of bring a line on either side. So I'm just going to kind of come in here with my knife and carefully put a bit of a stop cut. I don't want to go down into the wood below it because we want to preserve that as much as possible. So I just kind of came in there and made a little stop cut. I'm going to come up on top of that cut. The only problem with this type of wood, especially if it's been kept in water like this, it can be a little difficult to see your cuts. So you sort of have to work at it sometimes. But that's all we're doing. We're just kind of getting in here and trying to remove a little bit of wood. We put a stop cut on one side of the nose, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side as well. And just come in here and remove that wood. And this is we're going to have to kind of do this in a bit of in phases here, I think, because we're going to have to trim it back. All we're doing is relieving wood here to form a nose, and you can kind of see a bit on the profile, although I know it's a bit difficult. I'm going to take a little bit more wood out at the base over here. So I come in there, make a cut, come in underneath it and make another cut, and then I just come down, and you can kind of see we're beginning to relieve that wood in there. That's the way I approach this. This area over here is going to be kind of like the cheek next to the nose. Don't worry about all the nose detail at this point. You're just trying to in whittling, like I mentioned all the time, it's just forming planes and separate planes for separate things. So you kind of see what we did over here. We just sort of relieve some wood over there, and then we're going to wind up doing the same thing on this side over here. I'm just going to kind of come down here and make another little cut, and you can kind of see that it sort of disappears, so it's very difficult to see it. So you got to sort of know where you're cutting, and then you're going to kind of come back here and work your way through it. Is found wood the best beginner type wood to use, something like this? Nah, probably not. If you're just getting into it, it's a little more difficult to whittle. I like found wood. To me, it sort of epitomizes the whole whittling hobby. Finding some wood around where you live or places that you've traveled, and forming it into little shapes. So it's an enjoyable part of the hobby, I think. That's it. You kind of see we've relieved a little bit of wood on either side of that. We're going to have to bring the top of the nose back a little bit further, so it doesn't look like it's a completely flat nose. Right now it's a little too flat, so I'm going to just keep bringing this back a little bit. We're getting there. You can kind of see it's looking a little bit better now. And then we're going to have to do the same thing, come on here and maybe relieve a little bit more wood. So I'm just going to kind of come in here and continue to do that. So what I'm going to do here is probably just go around, continue what I'm doing, deepening this a little bit on either side, going about it step by step. I may even switch to the smallest blade on here, and just trying to just deepen the cheeks a little bit more so the nose stands out a little bit. It's not going to be, I'm not going to have a lot of detail on there because it's kind of tucked below the log. He's sort of, maybe his whole nose isn't sticking out, type of thing. It's just the top of it. Start trimming this back a little bit, making it look just a little bit more like a nose. put some, we'll try to get some indications of nostrils in there if we can, but we'll see. We'll see how well it works. Okay, I switched into the smallest blade. This actually wasn't this small, it was a little bit longer. I kind of cut it down a bit, just because it helps to get into, you know, when you're dealing with getting into the detail portion of it, or getting into tight spots. Sometimes having a more of a detail oriented blade on there is an idea, is a better option. So that's a nice thing about these pocket knives. You know, you have three. This one has 3 blades, and they each serve a purpose when you're whittling this type of wood. You know, the bigger one maybe for the bulk removal, powering through stuff, and then you can, you know, get a little bit more. I'll probably switch to the medium-sized blade when I'm doing more of the hat. But anyway, that's all just to get back to, you know, the whittle here. I just kind of went along here, and you can see I'm angling it back. And can you see that in there? It's maybe a little difficult, but and just forming the nose. So I'm just kind of coming down here, maybe narrowing the bridge of the nose, or where the bridge of the nose will be. You know, and it's really going to be tucked under the hat. So you can kind of see how that is over there. And that's it. We got little cheeks in here. So you maybe want to just go in here and round off the bottom a bit, the nostril area. And then you can kind of come in here, and I'm just looking at it. I'm going to clean it up a little bit more. And sometimes I find with this type of wood, especially if it's a little wet like this is here, again, it's been soaking in a bucket for almost 2 years, it can be a little sloppy. It leaves a lot of little things that you got to go back and have to clean up, but that's okay. We can leave a little indication, I think, of a nostril. I'm going to show you. I kind of, if you see in this one over here, he's got a bit of a nostril area over there. So we're going to kind of work with the same principle here. We're going to put a little cut right here in the wood, and then cut up to it and cut down to it, just to form the top of the nostril. Again, I want his nose, in a sense, you know, sort of still tucking a little bit behind. I think that's what I'm going for here. So I just want to give the indication of a bit of a nostril there. So I'm just kind of taking a bit away over here, and kind of see. I don't know. Can you see that how it looks? And it's, like I said, again, I'm gonna go back as this wood dries a little bit. I'm gonna go back and kind of clean some of that up. But that's all. And then I kind of come in here, and I just smooth that out a bit so it kind of tapers in there a little bit better. I know it's kind of hard to see at this point, but there you go. And we'll do the same thing on this side over here. We're going to come in, let's see, right about, I believe that's where I was, and I kind of tapered it forward a little bit. So I come in here, I put a little bit of a stop cut, and I cut down to it and up to it, and I just relieve that wood. And then I come back in here, and I just take a little bit away here, and then I scoop out a little bit of wood to taper that cut in and round it out a bit more. I know it's kind of difficult to see at this point, and I apologize for that, but that's the nature of this type of wood. But there you go. It's kind of got a bit of a nostril in there, if you can see. So while that dries a little bit, I'm going to maybe start working a little bit more on tapering the hat, because in essence, that's really all we need to do on the face here. We don't really need to do too much more. We want to start now working on the hat. So I'm going to flip out to the medium-sized blade, and I'll be right back. So now we're just going to kind of come in here and start whittling this back here a bit. I kind of want his rim to maybe flare out just a little bit, so I'm going to work my way around and do that. We're going to probably bring this back in a little bit more, but for the time being. I'm just kind of working my way around. And these are just kind of push cuts. Again, this kind of wood, it's going to be it can be a bit of a challenge, but like I said, I believe this is a piece of walnut. Sure, it looks like walnut to me at least. So there you go. We're just kind of doing our little brim here. That's all. I mean, we're really just we're in a sense almost done this whittle here. I'm not going to spend too much more time on it. I just want to add a little bit more detail because the hat is the main thing you see, right? I want to make it look like some kind of old hat. Maybe I'll put a little bit of a notch in here so it looks like it's flopping over a little bit more, something like that. You know, add a little detail, just play around with it, have fun. You know, these aren't, these are just kind of, use them as paperweights or something, I guess, you know, when you're done. They're kind of, you know, somebody sees that on your desk, or they'll have some questions. So, that's it. I'm just basically kind of going through here and adding a little bit of you know, just detail to the hat. That's all. I'm not really, you know, working towards anything specific. Anybody can do this. You just keep cutting it back and you know, thinning it out a bit more. I'm going to probably bring this in even a little bit more down here the more I'm looking at it. So I want to come in here. That's why I like leaving it to the end here, because I don't want the hat sticking out too much beyond the nose. So I want to kind of come back in here and just bring it in, clean up that edge a little bit more too. You can kind of see what pretty quickly you can knock one of these out. These are another one of those, you know, fun. I really enjoy doing these type of, I hope everybody enjoys them as much as I do. Maybe you just want more, you know, standard figure type whittles. And there's a lot of people who do those. I know, there's definitely, I do them, and there's plenty of other channels that do really incredible. There's a couple people out there that do amazing work. And you can always, of course, default back to the master Gene and enjoy his great videos. He's been whittling for a long time, and it shows. He's definitely a master at this at that art form, and we all owe him a debt of gratitude for his years and dedication to this hobby and teaching other people. He was one of the first people I learned from, watching, not videos, because we didn't have videos back then. It was, I believe, Woodcarving Illustrated, the whittling forms, or the flat plane carving forms. Gene did tutorials for people even back then. This is years ago, probably, oh God, well over 20 years ago. And for people just getting into the hobby, it was a godsend, because he made it so approachable that you couldn't help but get into the hobby. What I also like to do is create a little bit of a, you see how the hat kind of brims around like that. I don't know, I just like adding little bits of detail like that. Anything to just, you know, keep the features flowing in unique ways. I think the pieces that I've done that I like the best tend to flow. I don't know if that makes any sense, but when you're looking at them, there's kind of a little bit of motion in there, and I just enjoy that look. I don't, you know, I'd rather see that than something that's completely static. So to me, his hat's kind of twisting around a bit. So I kind of accentuate it by you know, putting these little twists in the piece like that. I mean, it's just the way I approach it. Again, you're only carving a really the bulk of it's a hat, right? So and a bit of a nose. So you know, there you go. It's a silly little thing. And this guy, little gnome guy or whatever he is, tucking out from a little log. I think it's a fun little whittle to do. Then I'm just going to come back in here, and I might just thin these cheeks out a little bit more just to kind of tuck them back. I kind of come through here, you know, and tuck them back a little bit more. That's all. And then I kind of go around here. You can kind of see some of how it's frayed a little bit. I'll have to come back in there and clean that up. I might wait until it dries just a bit more to do that. Normally we put a smile line in from where the nostril is, so I kind of come in here with my knife and I just make a little bit of a cut in there just to deepen it a little bit more, set the nose back a little bit, put a cut underneath it, and then kind of come back in here and, you know, hopefully get that little bit of wood out. It deepens everything a little bit on the face there, makes the nose look like it's kind of sitting back just a little bit. And normally we would be putting in a smile line in that location, so it kind of carries through. And it puffs up the cheek a little bit more, makes him look like a little bit more gnomey, I think, because he's got little puffier cheeks. And I do it on both sides. I kind of did this one slightly already. Once we do that, we can come in here, right at the top over here, and kind of the same thing. We're going to come in here and just deepen this a bit, right in there, and then over here, just put my knife in, and I just kind of come in here, and I kind of tuck that. I'm going to get this area in here as deep as possible, right in there, so to speak. So and then you're going to go back in here, just clean it up a bit. You can try relieving some of the, getting rid of some of the wood in here if you want. You can kind of come in here and start removing some. I wouldn't go too crazy with that, to be honest with you. I don't think it's all that necessary to do. Maybe a little bit, but if you want. And then again, we'll do the same thing on this side. I'm just going to come in here and deepen it a little bit. My knife right in there. A bit on this side. And then there's a little bit of kind of a triangle piece of wood in there you remove. That's it. And then we can maybe thin the bridge out just a little bit more. Doesn't have to be. That's about it. I think we've got this guy pretty much where we want him. I think he's a fun little character. Give it a shot. This is definitely a different kind of whittle, I think, to do. And they're definitely fun, and they're quirky. They look interesting too. And I like having little odd-looking whittles. You know, they're fun. And I'm just going to kind of go around here now, and clean it up a bit. That's about it. I'm pretty much done with this. So I'll clean it up, and I'll give you a look-see when it's all done. But there you go. That's kind of where we're at with this little guy coming out of our little log here. So it's a fun little whittle to do. I'm going to clean it up and I'll be right back. Okay, there you go, all done. I cleaned it up a bit. I added this little, I said I wasn't going to paint it, but I added this little patch detail to his hat. I think just sometimes having something that just kind of catches your eye is interesting. I actually tried to throw a little paint on the nose, a little red paint on the nose there. It kind of comes up, and then I really heavily wash, so it just kind of tints it a little bit. This I pretty much, on the patch here, I use kind of straight out of the can. It just adds a little bit, I don't know, something fun to look at. But anyway, it was a really fun whittle to do. I really enjoy doing these kind of whittles. Grab yourself a pocket knife or any kind of whittling knife that you may have, and a piece of branch. Anything you can find that you can whittle, and give it a shot. They're fun to do. They're really easy to do. Like I said, you're really only whittling a nose and a hat, and hats, you can't go wrong on the hat, right? So it's pretty straightforward and a lot of fun to do. So I hope you enjoyed that one. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'd be interested to hear. That's about it for me on this one. I hope you all have a great whittling week. I'll talk to you again soon. Take care.